Hi guys, welcome back to Banyo Thoughts, your daily dose of adventure and happiness. And with me again is COVID A, COVID Apple. At kasama niyang si Indy Mango. Anyway, so as you can see, pareho pa rin yung suot ko since yesterday. Kasi wala na po akong damit. Kailangan magpalaba. Pero at least pinalit na ako yung sombrero. So iba na yung kulay. Di ba? Anyway, ang tawag dito, today I want to do a book review. So there's this book that I've been reading over the past few days, and I like to share that with everyone who's watching or reading this. This book has been written. I read this book like maybe 3-4 years ago, and I've been following this author for quite a while already. He's the guy who came up with the whole idea called the 4-hour work week, where he showed some of the hacks in doing basically business, but in a very compressed format. You know how to outsource your virtual assistants and stuff like that. So basically building a business virtually. And madami pa ibang doon. But there he came up with a book called The 4-Hour Chef. Take note, hindi it's about food talaga, how to become like a master chef. Hindi wala naman pangarap na maging master chef or anything. But gusto ko lang yung concept niya on how he broke down or how he actually explained learning new things. So basically the reason why I'm reading the book or rereading it again, it's because I wanted to go back to the whole idea of remember yesterday or the few days ago I was talking about basics, building the foundations, etc., etc. And the best way really talaga to learn all of that is really putting in all the hard work in it. But I also believe naman that when you put the hard work, there is also should be a system or process in place. That's the reason why there are mentors or there are coaches who basically guide us in terms of fulfilling our to get the maximum out of ourselves. Like yesterday, I was talking to one of my coach friends, and he offered a free session with me this tomorrow. And the reason I was asking is because sabi ko parang hindi, although pumayat naman ako during the sa awa ng Diyos, pumayat naman ako during the quarantine. Hindi kagaya dahil kain lang kain. So ngayon, medyo alam ko na yung kinakain ko and I work out practically every day. But I know that my body is capable of doing more, or my body is capable of exceeding its limits in terms of, kilala mo yung katawan mo na kung kaya pa eh. So, alam kong kaya pa kasi hindi pa naman ako gumagapang pabalik sa kama or umiiyak dahil sa sakit or anything like that. Although hindi naman yun ang goal ko. Ang gusto ko lang mangyari is like yung ma-feel mo talaga na you gave everything. So, he said in the conversation that I was having with him, doon na realize na how important it is to have really a coach or someone to guide you. Because sometimes ako personally tendency ko, kaya ko nang tutunan yan on my own. I don't need anyone else, no? And I think that's how I operated over the past few years. That everything can be learned on your own, which is true naman. You can go to YouTube and you can go watch videos there, and you will learn programming, you would learn languages, etc., etc. But one thing na ang kaibahan lang when someone guides you is because they're basing it on experience that they actually have. So it's the same thing as you when you learn something and you want to teach it to someone else. You're passing on not just the knowledge that you have, but also the things that you went through, so that the other person who you're trying to teach will not have the same mistakes. I think that's the beauty of passing on skill sets to other people or learnings to other people, is that you want the other person to skip that process so that they can enjoy it. But the hard work is still there because they still have to go through it. But at least may mindset na sila. Alam na nila na, if I keep on doing this can be potentially the outcome. So if it's something that is not good or that's not going to be healthy, at least nasabihan mo na sila. The same thing I think goes with coaches. That coaches are there because they are there to guide you, and they basically see your person. Like yesterday, he was saying that, as I was telling him, I use an app naman to do workouts. That's nice to do apps. It's okay. I mean, it's a fantastic idea, and it has helped a lot of people. But the only thing that apps don't know is that you who like, for example, you have some people know that I have a knee injury, but the app doesn't know that. So the app is assuming that you're a healthy human being without any injury at all. So that's the difference between having a coach, because if you want to strengthen your, let's say, your legs, your knees, then you have to do a different. You have to adjust your workout to accommodate that injury that you actually have. So I was thinking yesterday, oh nga, no? So that's why siguro na-connect ko rin dun sa book na I would like to recommend that you guys read. It's called The 4-Hour Chef. The 4-Hour Chef is really a book about, how to cook, how to be a master chef. That's bottom line. But the process of it, which is the breaking down the system, or creating the system, that is the one I was interested in. Why? Because in that book, he actually shares a very good process of learning languages. Like, you can actually learn a language he said, basically on his experience, in a matter of, few weeks. But that's just the basic, no? Hindi mo you're not be able to be fluent, but you get to understand parang you will appreciate the language more because you're able to construct sentences and having conversations. Of course, words, you have to learn new vocabulary for a particular language, but at least the basic construction, because he was saying that he actually learned, I think, Croatian in a span of 30 minutes or 2 hours. To be able to engage in a conversation, he took a test after that. That is actually a level 3 exam, and he passed it with the highest score. And I was looking at looking at the process that he did, and he just said, I'll just pull it up. He just said that you just have to learn, which made me really interested. He actually deconstructed it into just 12 simple sentences. So if you manage to translate this into whatever language that you're trying to learn, let's say, for example, I have Duolingo. I use Duolingo to learn languages, and my goal is really, one of my personal goals is to be able to speak. I speak Spanish, but it's not so much. Before I used to do it, because I used to have Spanish speaking friends, and we used to have conversations. Before I used to speak French, but again, it was just like a basic lang. So I told myself is like, I'll try to go back to it again, because I really like French, because I have French friends who it's really nice to converse with them, at least in French. Spanish, that's another language that I'm relearning again. Italian as well, so that's a third one. And then my goal now is really to learn Korean and Japanese and Chinese, because those are the 3 languages that I find, and Portuguese. So that's another language that I'm trying to learn as well. So basically, my goal is to be able to learn those 5 languages or 7 languages in the overtime. No, but I was looking at ways to how to be able to find a structure where I can learn them and not be overwhelmed and not be bored, because I think languages, the only reason why we don't learn languages is because there's so many things to memorize, and we get dismayed by the volume of things that we have to memorize. We can memorize them, but it gets boring, and once it gets boring, especially for me who has ADHD, I really don't put much effort in it anymore. So I was trying to look for like a process where, again, going back to the whole motto that I have over the past few weeks, which is really, it's all about having fun. So what kind of fun activity that I can do on a regular basis that will deliver me deliver me 80% of the results by doing 20%. That's basically the 80-20 Pareto principle. And I learned from him, reading this book, that's why na-connect ko lahat, is that you have to try out translating these sentences. Nasira yung upuan, wait. Nahulog yung upuan. So, hindi dahil sa mataba ako, dahil nasira talaga yung upuan. Pero natanggal yung isang leg. Anyway, so going back. So there are 12 sentences that he said that you can deconstruct. It's called the deconstruction dozen. So the first sentence is that I'll write it down. So the word one is the apple is red. It is John's apple, number two. I give John the apple. We give him the apple, that's four. Number five, he gives it to John. Number five. Number six, she gives it to him. Is the apple red? The apples are red, so it's in plural now. I must give it to him. I want to give it to her. I'm going to know tomorrow. I have eaten the apple. I can't eat the apple. So basically, those 16 sentences, if you manage to translate that and break it down and deconstruct it into the language that you're trying to learn, it's very. You would be surprised. He said, you'll be surprised that this construction is frequently used in most languages. So if you learn the verb or the auxiliary verb for each of the language, let's say you learn, let's say to eat, or something that you want to learn. I don't know. Basta to eat na lang kasi midnight kumain. So to eat, if you can use that auxiliary verb to eat and add the different, translating those the object and the predicate of the sentence, then it's easier for you to construct different sentences. So that's where the joy and the challenge comes in, is because when you start learning all of this, it's just a matter of adding, that's what he says, adding the understanding the vocabulary, or adding the number of words that you learn of the particular language, learning the auxiliary verbs of those languages. So this after this, because since one of my part of my schedule is really learning languages at night. So I spend around an hour learning things. And I found out that I'm not learning as much, or I'm not absorbing as much information, or hindi siya nagiging masaya para for me to learn. So hindi siya kagaya ng when I play the piano, or when I do dance classes, or parang hindi ako ginaganahan because there's no, wala lang. It's parang for me, it's like a class, which is kind of parang boring for me. There's no additional excitement to it. But now that with this process, I hope that it becomes more interesting and more fun to do. So I haven't started it yet. So I had to go back to this whole chapter of the book because I just want to go through the whole process of it again. And let's see, again, my goal for now is just to be able to do something that's easy, Spanish. So yun ang objective ko muna, to be able to do Spanish in the next couple of weeks and see how I progress with probably conversing with one of my Spanish friends, or let's see, I don't know. Let me work on it on a day-to-day basis and see how the progress grows as we go along. So yun lang, I just wanted to share that. So if you want to read, I would highly recommend that you guys get a copy of the 4-Hour Chef. It's not about just cooking. It's really basically about deconstructing, being able to maximize your learning capabilities in a shorter span of time, so that you enjoy more the testing it out and practicing it out and exploring things out, rather than memorizing things, rather than just executing things based on technique. Parang ang ginawa lang niya is, basically at the end of the day, ginawa lang niya, he made it more, he put the process to it so that it's more fun, so that you can experiment on your own on how to learn something new. So it can be applied, he said that it can be applied to any skill, whether it's sports, whether it is magic cards, whether it is in cooking, whether it is in skills or languages, whether it is in programming. So whatever skill set that you're trying to learn, if you manage to he said, sabihin ko na lang, ano niya is deconstruct. I think he has a term for it. So it's called DISS. DISS. So DISS is basically deconstruction. Nasaan na yun? Sorry, di ko mahanap pa. Pero dito kanina yun eh. Ayan. So yun. It's called deconstruction. What are the minimal learnable units that you should be starting with? Then S is selection, which 20% of the blocks should I focus on for the 80% or more of the outcomes that I want. Sequencing, in what order should you learn the blocks? Stakes, how do you set up stakes, creating real consequences, and guarantee you follow the program. So this is the fun part where you actually experiment on the different aspects of the learning process. And then for you to be able to really like stick to it, or parang you mastered it, not mastered it, but learned it, is when you use the, he says another acronym called CAFE. It's another principle where if you learn something, can you compress it to a one pager? So like if you learn something new, can you actually compress all the things that you've learned in just a one pager? So parang, di ba nga sabi nga nila, the best way to learn something is to actually teach. If you actually can teach someone, it's a lot easier for you to remember things and a lot easier for you to learn things. So with the mindset of actually teaching, you actually put more effort in it in terms of understanding. So magkakaroon ka ng testing ground on how you want to understand something. And then he says CAFE. So go back to CAFE. It's a compression. If you can compress it to a one page, the frequency. What is the minimum effective dose? That's what the term. It's called MED. What is the minimum effective dose? So you can actually learn. For example, in my case, I've been learning the finger techniques in piano, and I realized that if I spend too much, like 2 hours of just doing it over and over, I get bored. But if I spend and I completely forget, parang not forget, parang nagiging nakakapagod. But if I actually spend less time of it, like if I actually do a certain do the exercise, but not drill in it too much, it's a lot easier and a lot faster to learn. So, and then the last one is E, is called encoding. How can you anchor the learning that you have into something that can be recalled easily? So, yun lang. I think siguro you find something that you like to do. Like for example, I don't know, like si Leia keeps on insisting that, oh, magsayaw-sayaw ka na. Pakita mo na yung sayaw yan. Pero kailangan sumayaw muna siya ng kanyang nasi goreng. So anyway, yeah, so ganun lang. So this is actually a book recommendation that you try to read. It's a very helpful book. If you really want to learn cooking, but I really don't want to learn cooking. I mean, I want to, but not at this point. But it's not my interest now. But yeah, so because my goal is really to be able to be fluent in those languages, and it's always been my target, and I think it's a good time to get into it now. So yeah, I just want to share that, and I hope you guys learned about it. So thank you very much to our companion today for helping me brighten up the day with your green stuff. Today pala is actually June 12, so happy Independence Day to the Philippines, to everyone. Let's celebrate our freedom. So let's celebrate our freedom from stress, from all our perceived notions. I came up with a new series for Banyo Thoughts. I hope you guys enjoy it. I don't know what to call the series, but I did the happiness series. But this time I'm talking about like parang self-awareness series. I'm kind of babaw pangalan. But yeah, it's like I'll be posting it on a daily basis. And if you guys read it and get to learn more about it. So yun lang. See you guys and happy Independence Day. Thank you very much for listening again. Have a great day ahead. See ya. Bye-bye.